Alright guys, new type of content coming out here. I'm starting to play Rainbow Six Siege again. So I wanted to come out with the support school since that's the kind of role that I play. Uh, I'm nowhere near the best at it, but I do play the support role and the IGL role for my team on Breach and Clear. So I just wanted to start a content series called Support School to help you guys out, give you guys my knowledge as well. So I created a PowerPoint here. Just support school. This is going to be episode 1. We're going to go over what is a support. So, what is a support? I think of a support as the enabler, the information gatherer of the team. So, while you might not have the best stats, you might not have the most kills, you are enabling the rest of your team to do their job. So, whether that be opening up a wall to take map control, whether that be droning your entries in for them to get the kills that they need to get, that's your job. You are on your drone. You are being the information gatherer. You are enabling the rest of your team to do your job. With this IQ point, I think of a support as not necessarily having more siege knowledge, siege game sense than the rest of the roles, but I think while you need to have more IQ, you need to be the one that thinks for the rest of your team. The entry, their job is to go get kills. Their job is to create map control. That is not as complex as opening walls, when to open walls, how to drone, where to get your team in, that kind of stuff. So you need to be the one thinking for the rest of your team. Passive versus aggressive, I think with a support, you need to have a more passive style until the end of the round. So passive, you need to be alive. You can't be the one that gets spawn peek. You can't get first blooded because you need to be the one that opens the wall. If your entry dies, that's a gun that's missing, which is never good. That whether that be an Ash, you might be missing some breach charges. Whether that be a Yana, you might be missing some nades. But if your support dies first, you're missing the walls or the breaches for the walls. So if you're on Clubhouse, every site needs to be open. If you're going basement, you need to open either church wall or the hatches or dirt. If you're going CC, you need to open garage, CC breach, construction single, stuff like that. If your support dies, you have to try to pound it through a doorway or a window or something, and that screws up your entire attack. With this IGL point, not all supports are the IGLs for their team. On TSM, who just won the 6th Invitational, the World Champions, Merc is their entry, and he is the IGL on their team. So I'm not saying that your support needs to be your IGL, but that's what I do. And so with my series, I'm going to try to teach you how to be a support with the IGL because that's kind of what I know. I don't know how to enter or to IGL as an entry. That's not what I do. So I can't give you guys that knowledge. So I'm going to try to give you guys the best knowledge how to IGL as a support as well. So what operators fall into the support category? On attack, you have your hard support and your secondary support. So with that, your hard support is generally your hard breach. So that's your Ace, your Thermite, your Hibana, your Mav, those kind of people. Sometimes with the new hard breach gadget that came out a couple seasons ago, that can somewhat follow up. So like on a bank, you could run like a Zero, a Ying, a Capitao. Not always, but sometimes. Your secondary support would be like your flank watch or your flex. It's not called a flank watch in Europe or other regions, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's considered their flex player. So that's like your Nomad, your Zero, your Capitao, sometimes your Flores you could consider. That's those type of players. Those are the ones that, while they're not opening up walls, they're still either helping your entries by not letting you get flanked. They're helping your entries by blowing up a shield, blowing up a wall with like a Flores that can be your soft wall. That's smoking stuff out so they can't peek you from other angles. So it's still under that enabler and it's still under that secondary support role. Under defense, that's like your SAS operators, like your mute, your smoke. That's like what I consider a constructor. So you have the shotgun that's going to open up the rotates, open up the walls to prevent the attack from attacking that position. So when I think of a site setup, the first thing that comes to my head is Oregon basement. So you're opening up into blue, you're opening up the freezer line of sight, you're opening up the laundry rotate, you're opening that stuff so that your team can play behind those points. So if an attack is coming from blue, you have the shield there, you have the wall opened, so that it makes that difficult. You're not just giving it up for them. You have the freezer line of sight, so they can't just walk all the way down freezer and feel comfortable doing it. So you're opening up those LOSs, those feet holes, those kill holes, those rotates, so that your team can rotate and play in those areas and make the attack uncomfortable. Another thing for a support on defense is the plant denial, so that's your Echo, your Maestro, your Smoke, and I consider somewhat like a Mira as like with like the Nitro, or a Mute with the Nitro as a plant denial as well, as long as you were playing that in a passive role. If you were playing an aggressive Mira, if you were playing like a Villa strat with a Mira and Deer while you're defending Aviator games, that's not a plant denial. You are playing that. If you get back to site, that is great with your Nitro. But that's not always going to happen. If they're holding your cutoffs, you're not going to be able to make it back to site. So that is not a primary plant denial. So your plant denial is your Maestro with your bubbles, your Echo with your Yokais, your Smoke with your canisters. A player playing in site with the Nitro, that is a plant denial. Information. You have your Maestros, you have your Echoes, sometime Valk if you're playing that passive Valk again. That is your information. Your defense if support is mostly your anchor. He is the one holding down site. He's not going to be the roamer generally. He's going to be the one playing site. So for me on my team, when I play support, I play hard support. So I play the breach, and then I play smoke or mute, or sometimes I flex onto the Maestro if my other teammates feel more comfortable in those smoke mute roles on that general site. So next, I just want to go over some of the top support players in the professional setting. So when I think of a support, I think of Bride, this guy. I think of Souls, Prano, Geo, Chala, Super. So we can just go over their stats quick so you guys can see how they play and what more of their roles are. So here we have Bride. You can see his cost, 70% cost. Smoke, Cabana, those are your support roles. So if we go over to his stats, we got to go over to EU. Plants, in the last 9 months, he has 37 plants and 22 maps. He has a 76% cost. He's only plus 15. I shouldn't say only, because that is good for a support player. He's plus 15. So he's doing his job. He's not getting first blooded a lot, so he only has 21 entry engagements compared to someone like Shaco with, what is that, 72 engagements in the same amount of maps. So you are going to have that kind of player there. We have Souls, 69% cost. Thermite Maestro. So cost, it's has many rounds as you're getting impact. So if you have a kill in the round, it counts. If you have a plant, if you survive in the round, if you are doing stuff like that. So in 69% of the team's rounds, he is getting a kill, he's surviving, he's getting a plant down, he is doing something that impacts the round like that. So if we go to, Brida, he plays for BDS in the European region if you want to watch him. We'll go over to LATAM, Tier 1, the last 9. Souls, number 2 in there. He's playing the Thermite, the Smoke, 70% cost, only 34 engagements and 34 maps, or first engagements, and he's plus 3, so he's still not going crazy on the kill department. He's still not going super positive, but he's doing his job. He's still playing those support roles. Next, we'll bring up Prano, 68% cost. This is a lifetime thing, so he just now started playing support. So he is now playing under G2, but last season he played for Rogue. So 17 plants and 9 maps. He's almost averaging 2 plants per map with a 70% cost, playing the Habana Smoke. Only 8 entry engagements in 9 rounds. He's minus 18, but he is still doing what his team needs to do to get those rounds. So they qualified for SI and the majors. So obviously, even though he's going minus 18, he's still enabling his team to win rounds and win maps. Next, here's a big outlier. So 60% cost, Thermite Smoke, this is super, and NA. His stats, this is what I think of when I think of a support. The person that is doing everything so his team can play the best they can. So 0.72 rating, not good. Minus 86, not good. only 23 entry engagements and 23 maps. 59% cost, not that great. 17 plants in those 18 maps, not great. Thermite, smoke, but if we go to the rest of his team, Grixer, 195 and 130. Rexen, 191, 134. Kansan, 158, 155. Yeti, 158, 149. Super is the ideal player for that enabler role. He is doing what his team needs him to do so that he can win and his team can pick up those rounds. So he is the one droning in Grixer, droning Rexen. He's getting them those entry engagements and getting them in the best position possible so that they can win those rounds. And lastly, I just wanted to throw in Geo and Chala, as they were the support players for TSM who just won the 6th Invitational. So we have the Hibana and Smoke as their top operators. So we'll go back to NA, we'll click on plants here. Geo, -5, not great. 66% cost, pretty good. 67% cost for Chala, -28. Okay, 9 plants. So here's the thing with TSM, they're going to end rounds by getting frags. They are not always going to get the bomb down. So they are the more aggressive. So these guys will play a more aggressive support role, but it's after they get their stuff done. So Hibana, Thermite again. So here, if you want to improve as a support player, watch these guys. Watch their games. Go into YouTube. You can literally just go into YouTube here. Look up BDS match replay Rainbow Six. BDS versus TSM, BDS versus TSM, BDS versus G2. Rainbow Six Esports Highlights has all VODs from every game that is played in a competitive setting, in a T1 setting, and they will have these supports. So you can watch them. You can watch their games, watch how they play, watch how they drone, watch how they enable their team to do what they can do. You can even go into match replay and watch every single move. You can go down, if you look up Rainbow Six Siege match replay Pro League esport replays. It tells you how to do it on here. You can download these 6th Invitational and you can watch how they play the game from every move they do. So with that, let's move on. I want to talk about the difference between support on attack and support on defense. So on attack, we have the IGL thing again that I mentioned and the enabling. So Super, one of the best enablers in the game. His team wins, his teammates do really good. He doesn't get all the credit because he has bad stats, but he is enabling them to do that. Construction, when you're the hard breach, you are going to breach the walls. You're going to open up the walls that flush the defense out. You're going to flush the walls that pinches the defense. That's your job. So we're going to say we're attacking Jim on Clubhouse. You're going to open up that CC breach, and you're going to end up opening up the cache breach if there's players playing in cache. So that will flush them out, and we're opening up the walls to take the control there. So last thing, if you're a hard support on attack, you're going to drone for at least 50% of the round. I know I droned for 1:45 to 2 minutes out of the 3 possible minutes in the entire round. So that's kind of your job. You're droning your entries to take the map control and get them kills. That's not your job. You are leaving the kills for the more mechanically gifted, more aggressive players. So on attack, use your drones, drone your teammates in, blow the walls, and you will see success as long as your team is getting put in those positions. On defense, you're doing the construction, the plant denial, the information, what I talked about with the roles or the operators you'd be playing. So with construction, you're opening up the breaches, or opening up the rotates, opening up the line of sights, you're doing that kind of stuff. That's in the prep phase, you'll be doing that stuff. Plant denial is at the end of the round, so you'll be throwing your smoke canisters, throwing a nitro, shooting them with your maestro bubbles, shocking them with your yokai drones to stop the plants. That's your job. So that is at the end of the round. So pre-round, late round, everything else in the round is your information. As a hard support, you'll be sitting on cams, helping your roamers see where the attack is coming from and where the attackers are at. So if I'm on Oregon and they in the first 20 seconds they shoot my shower cam out, I know the attack's going to be coming from that side. If we're in basement, they might be doing a freezer front take or a freezer backside take. We know the general idea of what they're doing from where they shoot cams. So that's a big part of what you're doing is you're going to sit on the cams, tell your roamers where they're at, and enable those roamers to do their job and waste the time and get kills. So that's the end of my slideshow here. I just wanted to start this support school for you guys, put these videos out for you guys, try to make the best content I can for you guys. So this is something new for me. I've never edited like this, so I'm going to try my best. I'm going to edit these out for you. I'm going to try to pump out some content. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for everything, and clown out.